What's up? How y'all doing out there? I'm back. This is Triple P, Paul Pickett Podcast. I'm your host, the one and only Paul Pickett. Before I get started, hit that click now, subscribe button. If you're on Instagram or Facebook, hit that follow. Don't forget the audio version. Loads at Apple, Google, Spotify, Amazon, Odyssey, Cashbox, Deezer, iHeartPlayer, FM, Podcast Addict, Podchaser, Stitcher, TuneIn, and more. You can Google the Paul Pickett Podcast. This podcast is sponsored by Promo Palace LLC at promopalace.biz. For online marketing and promotions, go to promopalace.biz. If you're a dog lover, a cat lover, or an animal lover, go to New Litter Apparel at newlitter.com. They got t-shirts, hoodies, and stuff for your dog to wear as well. So basically, I've been writing these, I got these little post-it stickies, and I'll basically write a little topic on here so I remember the topic if I see a nice little juicy topic. First topic I want to get into today is Max Kellerman rumored to be leaving First Take. Now, it's rumored that he's not leaving ESPN, but he's leaving First Take. I'm hearing some rumors that Stephen A. Smith has something to do with it. It could be Max's choice. I don't know. I don't really think Max is a good fit there. I think, he can't really handle Stephen A. Smith's aggression. I think he's, thin-skinned and whatnot. And another thing is, a lot of times Max Kellerman just says a lot of things that just make no sense. They just sound totally ridiculous. Sometimes I see debaters just go against the other debater. They just take the opposite, spectrum of what they're debating. But I never really liked Max Kellerman as a debater. He fits in a Stephen A. Smith realm and Rob Parker, and I forgot the other one. There's what I tweeted out another day. But some of these guys, they just say the most off the wall stuff because it fits with their gimmick and their character. They're just gimmicks and characters sometimes. Some of these guys that debate or these sports talk shows, they're not like Chris Broussard, who's always speaking from his most honest view. Doug Gottlieb, Rick Bucher, two of my favorites, Marcellus Wiley, Acho. They're always just giving honest opinions without being biased. Like Max Kellerman's always biased, Stephen A. Smith is biased, Rob Parker's biased, and Jason, I forgot his last name, but he's biased. So I think it's a good move for Max Kellerman to leave, and they should just bring in different people to debate Stephen A. Smith. Don't give one person the job. Just bring in different people on different topics. If you're talking basketball, bring in Big Perk or something. You're talking football, bring in Marcus Spears or something, or whatever. But I think Max Kellerman leaving the First Take is a good thing. I think the show will get better. I actually did prefer Stephen A. Smith to Max Kellerman. I think now that Stephen A. Smith is on Undisputed, he's just too biased. But I think that's a good look that Max Kellerman did First Take. And they say Max Kellerman is probably going to do more on his radio show and other things. And he's more of a boxing guy anyways, So what other topics we got here? We got the KD and Draymond interview. Ooh, was that juicy? That was juicy. I have to give KD a lot of props. I mean, not KD. Well, KD a lot of props for doing the interview. Draymond for the way he went after certain, topics and topics that actually involve him, as well. Like the topic of did Draymond's and KD's argument was that the reason that KD left? Now, all due respect, I don't know if I believe either one of them. I don't know if I believe either one of them. I don't know. It's just they both blame management but clearly that did cause some division. You know what I'm saying? Clearly, KD was probably out the door. You know, a couple weeks later after that, he was just ready to move on. But it's a very juicy interview. Um, it makes you understand KD a little bit more. I didn't like his reply to like why he goes to at people on social media and stuff like that, and acting like no reporters will know as much as him in basketball. So like what if it's a reporter like that actually played basketball, like that played college ball, pro ball, or whatever. So he don't know nothing about basketball. I just think like his ego. KD's definitely got an ego, and I understand why though. I understand why now because there was something he said about going number two in the draft, and somebody tell him to just it's okay to be number two. Settle, just be it's okay if you're just number two. Settle with being number two. Number two, being number two is fine, but he's not trying to settle with number two. He's trying to be number one because he's been told he's been number two his whole life. That he should just accept being number two and settle with being number two. So the interview definitely gives you a good understanding about KD a little bit more. You know, I don't totally dislike KD as much as I did seeing this interview now because I can understand him a lot more. I still don't think like understand like his take on going at people on social media, and I don't know that I totally believe KD that him and Draymond's argument didn't really have anything to do with him leaving, you know. But who am I to argue that? So yeah, check out if y'all haven't checked that out. Kevin Durant, Draymond interview, great interview, juicy stuff. What else we got here? We got Raiders to provide Raiders are going to require proof of vaccination at Raiders games. This is that political leftist ideas, like you know, it's you really gonna hurt your profit margin. You would have a lot of people that aren't gonna be comfortable with going. Nobody's trying to go through all that in a sports game. They got to show proof of vaccination. Then they're saying that if you're not vaccinated, that you can get vaccinated, then you can come in, but you got to wear a mask. And if you only have one vaccination shot, you got to wear a mask. I mean, they're outside in a football, unless it's an inside stadium. Even the stadiums usually the roofs open up, but they're outside most time in a football stadium. Um, yeah, I understand people coughing and sneezing, but I don't know, man. This is a little too far. Like Raiders, y'all ain't trying to have no fans in the stadium. Y'all really ain't trying to make money. You're trying to alienate. When you do things like this, you alienate consumer base. You alienate fan base. And if a business thinks they can alienate consumer base and fan base and get them back later, it doesn't work that way. It's the same thing going on with Fresh and Fit right now with the album Preacher Fresh and Fit. Fresh and Fit has apparently lost over 15,000 subscribers. I know I unsubscribe because they're frauds. And the more Abba Preach talks about it, the more I think the fraud is the fresh guy. The fresh guy is really he's just going along for the ride. He ain't bagging no women like that. He ain't bagging no more women than me. I don't care how much money he's got. He ain't bagging no more women than me. And I don't even leave the house hardly. I work 6 days a week on a marketing company. I work 3 days a week on a podcast and 3 days a week on a vlog. You know, so yeah, man, you're gonna alienate half your consumer base, half your fan base. I was a big Raiders fan coming up as a kid, big on Bo Jackson, and Tecmo Bowl and whatnot. But yeah, it's not. I don't know what to say about this. It's not a good move. Alienating consumer fan base. It's that left wing political ideology. You know, yeah, that's what I think about the Raiders. right now with that. Jackie McMullen's retiring. Shouts out to Jackie McMullen. Every time I don't remember Jackie McMullen from like way back in the days. I saw a tribute video of her like way back in the days, and I don't remember her like that. But I will say, as long as I remember her being on like shows like Around the Horn and stuff like that, I always liked her. I always thought that she has a lot of common sense, a lot of common knowledge, you know, of the sport. She articulates it off very well. I never heard her say anything. I never heard anything come out of Jackie McMullen's mouth like, "Yo, that's some nonsense." What is she saying? I never heard her say that. It's always other like female sports debaters and stuff like that. Even Sarah Spain. I never really heard her say nothing like never heard nothing come out of her mouth like what is she talking about? You know? But Carrie Champion, Molly, Rachel Nichols, you know, Joy Taylor, every now and then she'll say some things like nah, but Joy Taylor's pretty good. She doesn't just say a bunch of nonsense. The problem with some of these female sports debaters is they bring emotions into the mix. You're not supposed to bring emotions into a debate, man. Things could go totally wrong, man. That's where friendships could go all wrong. If Shannon and Skip brought emotions into the debate every single morning, they wouldn't be as good friends as they are. So big up to Jackie McMullins. She retired from ESPN, long career, great career. Wish her the best in life. I'm pretty sure she's still gonna have her plugging in here and there, coming in on like ESPN and other sports things independently, just making appearances. That's what you'll probably see her. Probably just writing a book, making appearances on other independent stuff. You know, just enjoying life. So yeah, I guess that's all the sports topics. I got a couple political ones, and then I got a music one. I'm gonna get into this music one first. This video with Lizzo talking about fatphobia. What the hell is that? Like, is that even? That's not even a real thing. Like, and this idea that just because you're fat and somebody doesn't find you attractive, that they're racist or they got fatphobia. That is the most BS I've ever heard in my entire life. False, fairy tales, imaginary, bogus narrative. First of all, fatphobia. Unless fatphobia is the fear of getting fat, there's no such thing. I can tell you right now, ain't nobody on this planet scared of fat people. Ain't nobody got the fear of fat people. Unless it's a fat person with a gun. Or a bazooka, or a rocket launcher, or a tank. Ain't no this idea that people have a fear of fat people. Unarmed fat people? No. Armed fat people? Yeah. People can fear armed people all day long. When they're armed, they got a gun, a grenade, a bazooka, a rocket launcher. Fatophobia is not even real. Unless fatophobia is the fear of getting fat. Then it's real. Because but I fear getting fat. I'm getting a little gut. I got a computer gut. Yeah, I fear getting too fat. Because it's very unattractive. It's very unhealthy. This idea that being fat is healthy? No. This idea that being fat is attractive? No. Slender bodies will always be more attractive than rolls. I got rolls coming in. That's not attractive. It is not attractive to have rolls. It's not attractive to have a flabby chest, flabby gut, and rolls. It's not attractive. And this is coming from somebody who's getting to that point. That's why I got to work out every other day at least. You know? But it's hard because I got 5 screws in my foot, a rod in my leg, and a former dislocated shoulder. But Lizzo, stop it, man. Fatophobia is unless she's afraid of getting fat, it's too freaking late for that. If she's afraid of getting fat, then it's too late for that. There's no such thing as fatophobia. I repeat, unless the fear of getting fat is fatophobia, fatophobia does not exist. This idea that people are afraid of fat people, scared of fat people, terrified of fat people. Oh my God, it's a fat person. Shut up. It's the most dumbest thing I've ever heard in my entire life, Lizzo. Like, your problem is you're too insecure. You're too insecure. You're too worried about what other people think about you. And like a lot of you celebrities are, you're too worried about people think about you on social media. Like, who cares? I just told people that I'm getting out of shape. Do you think I care what they think about me? No. But I don't have this fear of fat people and this idea if anybody was afraid of fat people that is racist. Shut up. Shut up. People just want to say everything's racist on this planet. China builds a wall and it's to keep out people, but America builds a wall and it's racist. Double standards. Lizzo, stop it. There's no such thing as fatophobia unless that's the fear of you getting fat. And even if somebody was afraid of fat people, that's not racism. Stop it. And this idea that being fat is attractive, stop it. It's not, or healthy. Stop it. All right. These next two topics kind of coincide. So I seen this thing where they're calling people domestic terrorists because they don't wear masks, comparing Taliban takeover to White House incident. All right, first of all, calling people domestic terrorists because they don't wear masks. We know that comes from Democrats and the left. Now, that's kind of hypocritical of them. If a bunch of people coordinating attacks on burning down businesses and breaking into businesses and stealing everything isn't domestic terrorism, then there's no such fucking thing. I repeat, if people breaking into businesses and burning them down and stealing everything in there is not domestic terrorism, as the Democrats call it, then there's no such thing as domestic terrorism. So this idea that if I don't wear a mask, I'm a domestic terrorist. You know what I think to the idiots that say that? Two thumbs up. I mean, two middle fingers up. Two middle fingers up. Two middle fingers up. That's what I think to any idiot that says just because somebody doesn't wear a mask, they're a domestic terrorist. You're a jackass. You're a moron. And these topics like this is why people get on these podcasts and rant, because they get tired of hearing people say these dumb things to millions of people. That an actual person who doesn't wear a mask is a domestic terrorist, but a person who breaks into a business, steals everything out of it, they burn it down, they throw things at the cops, they shoot at the cops. Those ain't domestic terrorists. Stop it, man. Stop it. That's such hypocrisy, man. Such BS. And then this idea, you want to compare the Taliban takeover to people, the White House surgeons or White House incident. Stop it, man. It's so hypocritical, man. Such these double standards by the left. So you want to compare a bunch of people running into a building with zero guns to a bunch of people taking over a whole country with nothing but guns. You want to compare an incident with a bunch of people who had no guns. They had no guns. They had no knives. They brought no guns and no knives out on y'all. They had no weapons whatsoever. And the only person that got killed during that incident was somebody that was shot by the cops. So nobody gets killed in this, but you want to compare it to a group of people taking over a whole country with guns, rocket launchers, and bombs and everything else that they used. It is such a double standard. Like, the Democrats aren't making themselves look too good right now, man. And I will always say, of course, every Republican isn't squeaky clean. And yes, they do some hypocritical stuff and some double standard, but not this double standard stuff. Like they're not sitting there. The Republicans aren't sitting there telling people that they're domestic terrorists because they don't wear a mask. You know, but sitting there saying you're not a domestic terrorist if you burn down a business and you rob the whole business, and it's okay to steal anything less than $1,000. No, it's not. It's not okay to steal. Period. It's not okay to steal from other people. Period. Because first of all, stealing from other people can get you killed. And if you steal from other people and get killed, I don't feel sorry for you. If you steal from other people, if you, I mean, you break in my house and like I come in the door as you leaving and you stole something, man, I'm shooting you down in the back. I'm gonna shoot you in the back and get my shit back. Cause you know there's this bogus rules of man. You know the laws of nature doesn't work in the laws of nature. You can't just break up in somebody's house, steal something, and leave and run out the back, and they see you. No, laws of nature dictates I take my stuff back by force if necessary. That's what the laws of nature dictate. But yeah, so y'all Democrats, y'all such big hypocrites. Leftists, y'all hypocrites. Y'all sit there and run around calling people terrorists because they don't wear a mask. But when somebody burns down businesses, steals everything from the business, they're just peaceful protests. Bullshit. And comparing the Taliban taking over a whole country with guns, grenades, and rocket launchers to a bunch of people running into the White House acting like idiots. That's really wasn't what it was. A bunch of people running in the White House acting like idiots, taking Instagram photos. Like, Taliban wasn't worried about taking no fucking Instagram photos. Stop it, man. Stop it. You comparing the apples to oranges and talk about it's the same fucking thing. Nah, one's a hell of a lot sour than the other. They don't even nowhere near to taste the same. You know? So yeah, man. Um so yeah, we had a lot of good topics today. Max Kellerman, Room of the League first take. Hey, 2 thumbs up to that. I think first take could get better. Jackie McMullen retires. Congrats to Jackie McMullen, long career. Wish her the best. Raiders required proof of vaccination at Raiders games. Complete idiots. Don't know how to run a business. Katie and Draymond interview. Check it out. Nice and juicy. And of course, Lizzo with Fatphobia. I mean, I'm still trying to figure out. I gotta Google that. Is that even a thing? I know it's not. There's no such thing as a fear of fat people. I do know that's not fatphobia. So unless it's like the fear of going fat, which I mean, I could say I pretty much might have fatphobia because I do fear going fat. I always said I don't want to be little fats from coast to coast mixtapes. He's like my height and like 2 times my weight. Not healthy. Dems and they calling us I mean, I go into the grocery store with a mask, so I'm a domestic terrorist. I'm a domestic terrorist. First of all, I have not been sick in over 2.5 years. And why is that? Because I live alone and I work alone. I live alone now. Listen to what I said. I live alone and I work alone. So where do most people get sick from? If I'm telling you I live alone and I work alone and I haven't been sick in 2.5 years. And mind you, I go to the store every other day, sometimes back-to-back days, no mask, touching the same ATM machine everybody else is touching. Most people get sick from people they live with and people they work with. It doesn't take a doctor or a rocket scientist to figure this out. Because when you work, you usually work 8 hours. So you're around those people for 8 hours. So the longer you're around people, the better chance you have from getting sick from them. People, so you work with people, you're there from like 5 to 8 hours around them. Chances you get sick are high. People sneeze and cough at work. Now, when you go home, you're at home with them for the rest of the day, unless you leave the house and go somewhere. But now we're talking about 16 hours. You're around whoever you live with, your roommates, your loved ones, or whatever, sneezing, coughing at the house, going on. Those are the two main places people get sick. People ain't getting sick at bars all the time. The only sick they're getting at bars is throwing up because they can't handle their liquor. So yeah, I'm living proof that masks have nothing to do with me not being sick in the 2.5 years. Social distancing has nothing to do with it because I'm around people every time I go to the store. I'm always seeing people, new faces, new people in and out the stores, quick stop, grocery store, whatever, you know. So social distancing and masks ain't got nothing to do with it. And now I would say this: wearing a mask, I think they got it backwards. I don't think you're supposed to wear a mask in public, but if you got a big household, you might need to be wearing a mask at the house, not in public. This idea that mask in public, no, it's because what people ain't wearing a mask isn't at the house or in the car, maybe with the kids, they might not be wearing a mask, or with other people in the car, which is a small space. And if you're there long enough, and they cough enough and they sneeze enough, bam, you can get sick. But I'm just telling you, from my personal experience, I'm living proof that I haven't had a cold, sniffles in 2.5 years. I got sinuses, but I'm in the freaking pollen state. I got sinuses, but I'm in a pollen state. But I have not had a cold, no flu, no strep throat, none of that in 2.5 years. It's because I live alone and I work alone. So that should tell you a lot right there. Screw what Dr. Fauci's saying and all these doctors. Most people get sick from work at home. So that's where you need to worry about preventing it at, is work at home. So yeah, maybe wearing a mask at work ain't a bad idea. And I know people ain't going to want to wear a mask at home. That's very uncomfortable. But it sounds like it makes more sense to wear a mask at home than having to wear one in public, where you're not really going to get sick. Because you're not around those people long enough to get sick. When you go to the grocery store, you're in and out, usually. But that's that. Once again, I want to thank you for tuning in. Hit that click now subscribe button. This is episode 49. Next episode will be 50. I'll be halfway there to 100. Don't forget, my podcast is sponsored by Promo Palace LLC at promopalace.biz for your online marketing and promotion needs. For your brand, your business, or your music, check out promopalace.biz. If you like dogs, cats, you're an animal lover or animal rights activist, please go check out newlitter.com, New Litter Apparel. We got t-shirts, hoodies, sneakers, and we got things for your dogs to wear, like dog bandanas and stuff for cats coming soon too. Before I go, for Shizzle, I got to shout out one of my favorite brands, Dizzle, DizzleBrand.com. Check them out. A mixture of cognac, agave tequila, orange liquor, mango mix, and crisp lemon. That's DizzleBrand.com. Follow them on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, Twitter. They got a dozen different recipes you can check out that you can make with Dizzle. And as soon as I get my first Dizzle in, I'm going to try out one of the recipes at home myself. I'm not a big liquor guy, but, one of my best friends, Chris Roker, is one of the owners over there at Dizzle, so I got to show love to my mentor and one of my best friends. Shouts out to Mike Dizzle and Olivia Harris as well. Check them out, DizzleBrand.com. They're doing some great things. And look out for Dizzle Brand to come soon to an ABC store, a venue, a club, a bar near you. Once again, this is Triple P, Paul Pickett Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Pickett. This is your home for music, sports, and politics. Peace. And I'm out.